Hello and welcome to Top of the Line. I'm Nick Lynch.
Rocco Coppola along with you.
And we are halfway through the first round of the NBA playoffs. Some teams up big or some down big, and some teams keeping it close within the series. So let's get started. So we start with the Western Conference playoffs, the Phoenix Suns and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Suns, they're down 2-0 heading back home to Arizona. And I think the Suns, they have the team now. They have the big three with Bradley Beal, with Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. They should be winning now. So I don't know what the holdup is with the Phoenix Suns lately.
They just don't have the high seeding that's necessary to win and go on to the next round. You play a team like the Timberwolves, you're not going to have much success if you can't beat them in Minnesota. So they're down 2-0. What do they do now? They need to get 2 wins in Phoenix. If they don't win 2, it's done. Because you're not going to come down from 3-1 and beat that Wolves team. I don't see it happening. They're playing way too well right now.
Yeah. But I feel like the Suns, they need to stop playing around with themselves. They need to focus on the Nets game and go out and win. Now don't get me wrong, Minnesota is a very good team. They are probably like the most improved team this season, but the Suns just need to find that height that gives them the advantage against Minnesota, and I think coming back home will be it for Phoenix.
I mean, yeah, you got to take care of your business if you want any prayer to move on and go on to the next series. How do you go back to Minnesota if you're down 3-1? Or better yet, how do you go back to Minnesota if you can't even go back to Minnesota because the series is over, 4-0?
Yeah. But, yeah, if you lose 2 games, it's certainly over.
100%. It would be over.
Yeah,
I think if you lose one more game, it's just about over. You're not coming back and beating that Wolves team. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I agree. I think Phoenix, they kept it close until in the first game until the second half. They basically imploded.
They looked sloppy in the second half in both games, and something needs to just spark in that Suns team when they come back home for Game 3. Because I can't emphasize this enough. You can't beat Minnesota if you're down 3-0.
No.
Because, nobody's ever come back from 3-0. Who knows? Maybe it happens this year. I'm not sure. But I don't see it happening. The Wolves are just too good of a team.
Yeah, I think Minnesota also plays aggressively, especially at home. I think they have the best playoff atmosphere, or one of the best playoff atmospheres.
I mean, the Thunder, the Knicks, the Nuggets, they're definitely up there.
Yeah.
Miami even, too.
Yeah, but I think Minnesota, they haven't been in the playoffs in a while, and I think that that home energy is what's fueling this Timberwolves team right now.
And I think you and I would both agree that Anthony Edwards is the series MVP as of right now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And Rudy Gobert and Cat have been doing amazing too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. The Timberwolves, I think they're doing a really good job and are on pace to win this series.
Indeed. Now let's take a look at how the King of Akron did against the Joker.
Yeah. It's a bit of a rough one for the Lakers. They're also down 2-0 against Denver.
They blew it twice too.
Yeah, they did. In Game 1, the Nuggets did not go away when they were down. In the first half, they were kind of down to the Lakers. But, again, the Joker and those Nuggets playmakers like Jamal Murray, Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon, all those players, they're playmakers for this Denver team.
It really looked like the Nuggets bench warmers just looked like they were having fun with the Lakers starters out there. They weren't even trying. It's almost as if Denver was just all right, when the game's later on, we'll put the starters back in and just close this out. We got this. It's like they're disrespecting the Lakers to an extent. And they're up 2-0. You're up 2-0 at home. That's the best case scenario if you're a high seed, especially when you're playing the King of Akron, you're playing LeBron James, it's difficult. He's always going to be a competitor. He's always going to be good. But Jamal Murray, I can't stress enough how important he's been to the Nuggets this series, as well as Joker, too.
Yeah, I agree. The Lakers, they were trying to come back, but then Denver slammed the door on them in the first game.
It's funny how we talk about comeback. Let's get into Game 2.
Yeah.
Speaking of comebacks.
Yeah, Game 2, on the bright side for the Lakers with D'Angelo Russell had a huge night from three-point range, 7 3-pointers made. The Lakers go up by 15 at the half against Denver, and then the Nuggets, who were down 19 points at some point in the second half, came all the way back, and Jamal Murray hits the buzzer beater to win the game for Denver.
How else would it be?
I guess we'll never know.
Denver, man, you're the champs, and you're just showing the world why you are the defending champs.
Yes. So now we move on to the Oklahoma City Thunder and the New Orleans Pelicans. Thunder have a 2-0 advantage against New Orleans. I think Thunder is another team that has a great playoff atmosphere.
Fantastic. The little
earlier.
whiteout that they do, and
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I've been watching the NBA for years. I didn't even know that the Thunder did that, ever. I don't know if it was just like a playoff thing, if it was just like for an every game at home thing. Like, I've never seen that before in the NBA, and I really, really like it.
Yeah. Well, also, Oklahoma City, they don't have a professional sports team in like a 80-mile radius.
Yeah, and the first game was close throughout all the game. I thought the Pelicans were going to pull away at some point, but I guess having no Zion could really be an Achilles heel for you.
Yeah, I agree. The good news is for the Pelicans that Zion Williamson thinks that he can return in this series. But the Thunder hold on.
Will it be too late by that point? That's a bigger question.
Yeah, he's going to try to play Game 3, and if not, he's going to play Game 4.
I think if Zion plays both games, the Pelicans realistically could be up 2-0 right now. But we'll get into how Shea and the rest of the boys took care of business in Game 2.
Yeah, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander in Game 2. The Thunder go up big at the half, and they absolutely destroy the New Orleans Pelicans by 32 points. Yeah, and it's all Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Josh Giddey, Chet Holmgren, and all of those young superstars on Oklahoma City.
Let's be honest, Josh Giddey's just out there to get some cardio.
Yeah,
Yeah. Off to L.A., I guess.
Yeah, off to L.A. This time the other team in L.A., the L.A. Clippers against the Dallas Mavericks. Game 1, the Mavericks, they faded away very early.
Yeah, and by the time Luka tried to bring him back into it, it was just they were too far gone by that point.
Yeah,
so there's really nothing to really talk about for Game 1 aside from the fact that the Clippers they kind of just put it away early.
Yeah, I mean, like the Mavericks, that's when you know it just wasn't their night.
Yeah, and especially when you have, in my opinion, the best player on the planet, it's hard to come back when you're down by that much against a team like the Clippers. James Harden with 28 points in his first game with the Clippers in the playoffs. You got to love it.
Yeah.
Game 2, though.
We know Harden has bounced around from team to team these past few years.
Getting it passed around like a hot potato in the prime.
Yeah.
Safe to say Game 2 was very much different.
Very different. Luka Doncic this time with 32 points. The Dallas Mavericks win by 3 to even up the series to send it back to the Big D.
Love it. I love it. I love Luka Doncic. Just so fun to watch. And I had the series going to 7. I had the Mavericks winning the whole series.
Yeah, I agree. This series is going to be very
I'm telling you, Luka is on a mission this time around. He's on a mission to go far. He's on a mission to get that ring that he's been after because they can do it. The Mavericks are absolutely capable of winning this championship. Even as a 5 seed, I believe they are, right?
Yeah, 5 seed.
5 seed. They're capable. Mm-hmm. They're capable. You know who I don't think is capable of winning it, even at their best?
Who?
The Boston Celtics.
The Boston Celtics. We know they've had playoff troubles in the past few years.
Let alone against these boys right here.
The Miami Heat.
Who else would it be?
Well, the rematch so far isn't exactly going the Celtics' way because Miami evened up the series in Game 2 after the Celtics absolutely destroyed Miami in Game 1.
I mean, yeah, it was just curb stomping at that point.
Yeah.
But Miami just came out second game. Hey, we're coming out swinging. We're going to bring the pain to you, and we're going to tie the series up. No Jimmy Butler, no Terry Rozier. We're still going to get it done.
Yeah. That just shows that Spoelstra is a very good coach.
Spoelstra's a legend.
Yeah.
One of the all-time great coaches. You're not going to find many coaches that get the best out of their team at their worst and still go far and try to compete.
Yeah, even when they have players injured. Like, he literally pulls guys off the street, and they still win.
Did it to the Knicks, Celtics, and Bucks last year. Couldn't overcome the Joker, but I guess that's just a testament to how good Spoelstra is as a coach.
Yeah. So next we move on. The Philadelphia 76ers against the New York Knicks. It's a very happy time in New York right now with the Knicks and the Rangers both in the playoffs. In game one, very physical matchup on both ends. Of course, they're division rivals who don't like each other. New York and Philadelphia, they have a sports history, not just basketball, of hating each other.
Yeah, that's right. Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson both had 22 points. Brunson was not very efficient from the field. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
From the field. Almost had a brain fart there. But, yeah, Brunson being doubled by 6'6" guys, it's kind of hard to really do anything. But he's still helping out the team with his assists and his free throw shooting. Tyrese Maxey with 33, Embiid with 29. Injury and all. Yeah, just that I didn't like the way that looked.
No, I didn't like the way that looked either. But he still came back, and
he's still a problem.
Yeah,
he's still a problem.
Yeah, Embiid, he fights through injuries. He wants to play. He wants to play in Philly, and I think that's what's kind of fueling the 76ers right now.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, the Knicks took care of business in the first game. We were able to come back, and we were able to win by 7. Game 2, I thought it was a lot of the same from the first half. It took the Knicks 3.5 quarters to take the lead. Maxey, the first 3 shots, 3-pointers, going up 9-0. I didn't like the way it looked as a Knicks fan myself, and obviously you are a Warriors fan, but you're a big Knicks guy when it comes to the jerseys.
Yeah, I gotta. It's we're in the tri-state area. We
gotta represent. Gotta represent the area to some extent. Yeah, good comeback win by the Knicks. I thought towards the end, they gave it away really. So I'm really happy that I know a lot of people are blaming the refs, and I get it, but they were bad on both sides. You had Miles McBride on the inbound earlier on, being held with his arms out, couldn't even move. You would think he's Dr. Octopus destroying New York City, and he's getting held. Or better yet, when Batum's putting his arms like a cobra clutch around the head of, I want to say it was Josh Hart, and no foul.
Yeah.
But you can't call a foul when Maxey's just bobbling the ball on an inbound. Cool. NBA says it's a foul. Oh well. Game's over. Knicks are up 2-0.
Yeah, with that late pressure by the Knicks on Tyrese Maxey and the turnover at the end of the game, when DiVincenzo got it, missed the first shot, I was like, oh my God, that would have been crazy. But he gets the second chance, and this time he nails the 3.
He said, give me it back, I'll hit it. Mm-hmm. Money in the bank from the 3-point range, as Dante DiVincenzo always is. I got to be honest with you, though, when Maxey got the ball back and he drove up to the rim, I really thought he was going to put it in.
Yeah. However, the NBA did admit after the game that Tyrese Maxey was fouled twice, and there was a missed call, or 2 missed calls, I should say, by the referee.
2-0. 2-0 Knicks. Mm-hmm. That's all I got to say.
There's nothing you could do about it now.
That's all I got to say.
We move on now. The Indiana Pacers and the Milwaukee Bucks. In Game 1, no Giannis for the Bucks. Probably not expected to return this series. Milwaukee wins by 15 in Game 1, and Damian Lillard with 35 points. I feel like this was kind of a warm-up game for the Indiana Pacers in the playoffs, that they wanted to kind of get the feel of the playoffs a little bit.
Get the feel for the playoffs while you're at it. That's obviously very important. And I know playing against a Giannis-less Bucks is it's difficult in its own right, because Dame is still Dame. And the Bucks are still a good team.
Yeah. I think they're definitely still finals contenders.
Yes, but here's why I don't think Milwaukee's going to win this series. The Pacers have had their number all year, and I think that's going to continue in this playoff series. But Indiana, yeah, they lost in the first game, but they came back in the second game, and they looked a lot better.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy for Milwaukee, though, this series. I think Indiana is going to take them to 7, but I think it's still going to be Milwaukee coming out on top. In Game 2, the Pacers, they warmed up already, and they took care of business in Milwaukee. Pascal Siakam with 37 points.
God, winning on the road if you're a lower seed is so important, especially when you have to go back home. And you get that just because momentum in basketball, in the playoffs especially, it flips so quickly. And now Indiana has a chance to really put some pressure on the Bucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And then the Orlando Magic and the Cleveland Cavaliers, the final playoff matchup we have. In Game 1, the Magic have not been in the playoffs since 2020, so not really used to the playoff atmosphere.
Yeah, and it's really starting. It's really starting the show, especially now that they're down 2-0 in the series. Mm-hmm. Spider Mitchell's just been killing them like a Swiss Army knife, just going through. You could call it Swiss cheese with all the holes. You could call it a Swiss Army knife. Spider Mitchell's coming here to play. He wants to prove people wrong. He wants to prove this Cavs team can go far.
Yeah, I agree. But the thing I do like about the Magic is that they didn't completely go away throughout the entire game. They kept the they kept the lead for Cleveland around 7-10 points.
I mean, yeah,
game.
that's competitive in its own right. But at the end of the day, you're not winning games. You're not making any bread, and you're not going far. Paolo Banchero's looking amazing for the Magic. I think I've become a big fan of his recently.
Me too.
He's a great player. I want to see him do more. I originally had the Magic winning in 6. That's definitely not happening at this rate. So let's just see where that goes.
I think Paolo Banchero is doing his part. I think it's just up to the rest of the team to do their part.
Yeah, I got to step up a little more.
Yeah.
A lot more.
In game 2, it's basically the same exact game, I feel like.
Same movie, same ending.
Game 2, yeah. And Cleveland wins. The Magic, they need to step it up when they go back home.
Yeah, when you're young in the playoffs, it's so difficult to just compete against veterans who have been there and done it before. There's really not a whole lot the Magic can do aside from just try to outplay the Cavs. That's really all you can do.
I agree. Well, that's it for us on the NBA today here, but up next is Noah and Matt with college basketball on Top of the Line.
Welcome back to Top of the Line. Today we will be reviewing the Final Four of college basketball. Let's start off with Alabama and UConn. The Huskies took the victory on this one. Thoughts, Noah?
I think Alabama had a great run in March Madness, but, obviously UConn's not a power to be messing with. I think they dominated this one and they took it pretty easily. UConn obviously, went back-to-back, which we'll talk about in a minute, but I think they executed great this entire tournament, especially that game, and taking down a red-hot Alabama wasn't an easy thing to do, but they made it look easy.
Moving on, we have North Carolina State versus Purdue. Purdue just had a better offense in this one. Thoughts?
NC State, the big dark horse team in this entire tournament, they should be proud of how far they made it because they had a great run, one that nobody expected. In fact, a lot of people had them out in the first 2 rounds of March Madness, so it was very impressive where they got. But Purdue just continued to shock and impress me the entire tournament. I thought that Purdue would just do what they usually do and get eliminated in the first 2-3 rounds. But, they really impressed me this tournament, showing that Zach Edey elevated them to heights they never thought they'd get to. And, obviously with Edey leaving, Purdue's going to be obviously weaker, but I think they had a very impressive game there, very impressive run, able to end the North Carolina State Cinderella run. And, I think they executed on all floors.
Moving on, we got the final 2 teams, UConn and Purdue. UConn takes the win this time with an ending of 75-60. Thoughts?
So obviously Purdue, I just explained, had a very impressive run, but they are no team to take down UConn. UConn impressed us last year, won the entire thing. Then they go back-to-back and win this entire thing. I mean, I don't know what it is with UConn, but they are just the prime basketball school in our present time. And, them winning back-to-back, it's no joke. They're definitely one of the better teams in college basketball history. And I think it was a very impressive win, a very impressive tournament for both teams. But Purdue just overpowered them.
Now, UConn wins 2 already, 2 years in a row already. Do you think they could three-peat next year?
I think it's very possible, but I'm going to give you my very early prediction. Next year, I have Alabama facing off against the Duke Blue Devils in the finals of March Madness, and I have Duke winning. I know Duke got eliminated at Elite 8 this year, but they had a very impressive run, and I think it's just going to get better from here with all the rising stars they have, like Jared McCain. And I just think that they're going to be able to elevate themselves to heights that nobody would think that they'd go to. And I think they're going to win the entire thing.
Do you think there are any other teams that we should be looking out for who could potentially be good?
I definitely think we are going to see NC State. I don't know if it's back here in the Final Four like we just did, but I definitely think they're going to have an impressive run again next year. And my biggest team, like I just said, Alabama, I think they're going to get back here, but they're going to make it to the finals next year because they just look like such an impressive team on the floor during March Madness. And, coming back next year, they're obviously going to have new players, more well-developed players from this year, and I think they're going to be able to get to that championship game. Don't know if they're going to win it, but I think they're going to be very impressive. I think they're the biggest team to look out for next year.
Well, that's all for college basketball here on Top of the Line. But don't move, because next up is Marco and Andrew on soccer.
Hello, I'm Marco Baldino,
And I'm Andrew Mirzaaghasi.
and we'll be covering the games in the FA Cup semifinals and the Premier League. So let's go. Man City versus Chelsea, where they meet again this year.
Yep, they again this year, and surprisingly, only one goal was scored this game. 1-0, Man City victory. I'm kind of excited for that, but I felt like this game had so much potential to be like more.
Yeah.
But it kind of just fell flat because Silva was able to score after the intense semifinal, and now Man City is now going to the finals in the FA Cup.
Yeah, now they're going to be against Man United in a little Manchester derby at Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, it's going to be insane, honestly. A Manchester derby that determines the winner of a tournament. So I'm kind of excited to see how that game goes.
Yeah, but it was a nice goal from Bernardo Silva. Like, this is redemption after like his poor penalty against Real Madrid. But yeah, Man City move on to the finals once again.
Yep. But to a more entertaining game this time, we have Man United versus Coventry, which Man United somehow, being them, blew a 3-0 lead against Coventry City, in which I'm shocked because they had this game in the bag, but then they somehow fumbled it to make it a tie.
Yeah. Like, I don't understand. Man United are up 3-0, and Coventry almost even won the game. Like,
Yeah, they almost even
they
won the
almost
game.
won the game. It could have been 4-3, but offsides in, like, the last, like, play of the game.
It would have been 4-3. Imagine that. 4-3. But
Oh,
then the
then-
VAR decides
the
we're
amount
not.
of the amount of memes that would have been if Coventry actually won.
Yes, it would have gone insane. But Coventry blew it around penalties because
Yeah.
it would be, I think, 4-2, in which,
Yeah.
yeah. So I decided to summarize Coventry's mistakes with a clip. Here's the clip.
Huh?
As you could tell, the clip was very realistic.
Very.
Very, very realistic. So, Man United is going against Man City, like we said, in the FA Cup final.
And do you see like how Man United like celebrate? Like they won, like they actually won a trophy or something. But and you see Anthony like celebrating to the Coventry fans, like, bro, you were up 3-0 and you almost blew it.
Yeah,
Like,
honestly.
you should really be embarrassed.
Yeah, honestly, if I was him, I would like think about if we barely won this game, how are we going to go against Man City in the finals, mind you? So they shouldn't be celebrating this early.
Yeah.
So they need to keep up with their game on their toes, because if they make a mistake like that in the finals, it's going to cost them the whole championship.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah. So, in the Premier League, we have Chelsea versus Arsenal, a game that I was hoping that Chelsea would have won, so then they can knock Arsenal down in the standings. However,
Yeah.
how did you guys lose to 5-0?
Look, usually every time I talk about a Chelsea game and like something they do really bad, I will go on and on about how the club and the team's like terrible. But right now, they're really not worth my time after a 5-0 loss against Arsenal.
I don't
Just
even
like-
know.
Yeah, and Kai Havertz, like, it was a really good signing by Arsenal to get Kai Havertz, because you see now he's like really making an impact on the team,
Yeah, he's really made an
and
impact.
also he just celebrates against Chelsea, which I don't know what to do about that.
I
Can't really
mean-
do anything about that.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame because this game actually made Arsenal currently in the standings first place. So,
And let's go to the other game, Liverpool versus Everton,
yes, let's get another
the rival game, and Everton surprisingly beat Liverpool.
Yeah, what's going
such
on
a
with
long
Everton?
time.
What's going on with Everton? Because I remember there was the one game with Chelsea, they won against it, and then now with Liverpool too. It's like they're bullying out of proportions at this point.
Yeah, and a shocking turn of events, like Everton beat Liverpool, which make Arsenal 3 points ahead in first place.
Honestly,
Which
it's quite
Arsenal
shocking.
really have a good chance of actually winning the league this year and the Premier League title, which I really did not see coming at all.
Yeah, I would not honestly see this coming because, as of course, in the episode series of Top of the
Yeah.
Line, we mostly either see Man City or Liverpool just stay on the top
Exactly,
of the
yeah.
leaderboard. And now here comes Arsenal coming out of the left lane, comes in with first place. So I'm quite surprised, honestly.
Yeah, and let's go to the stands, which we haven't looked at in a while.
Yeah, we haven't looked at it for like a while now.
Yeah.
So for our standings, we have Arsenal in first place with 77 points. In second place, we have Liverpool with 74 points. In third place, Man City with 73 points. And in fourth place, Aston Villa with 66. And in fifth place, Tottenham with 60 points.
Yeah, so we always have like those same like team names.
Yep, the
It
same.
hasn't really
usual
changed,
five.
but like it's moving around.
It is kind of moving around.
Now we see Arsenal in first place.
Yeah, that is the first time.
Yeah.
Honestly. But honestly, I want to see how this goes. If they could keep it up, then they could keep it up.
Oh yeah.
Or
Only a
if
few games
Liverpool can
left.
come-
Season's almost over.
Season's almost over. There's a lot of more Man City games, I think,
Yeah.
because they haven't played like a whole lot. So there's a chance they can come back with that. There's a chance that Liverpool can score more goals. Honestly, anything can happen with these games. So I'm quite excited to see where this can go.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for watching. Tune in next week with a recap of NFL and NBA basketball games and the continuing coverage of soccer. All of this and more on the next episode of Top of the Line.